Hello and greetings, everyone. I wanted to come back on and clarify a couple of things. We talked about trust, the document where your assets are owned. You actually put your assets in a trust to protect yourself and make sure that your beneficiaries are named and they're able to get the assets that you want them to have without going to probate court. The clarification is there is a way that you can own a trust and it still be probated. Here's one of the ways that can happen. The trustor, the person that created the trust, has become incapacitated. They're older, they can't take care of themselves. Maybe a form of dementia has set in, Alzheimer's, which is a form of dementia. Also, they're being neglected. So a neighbor notices and calls Adult Protective Services. They do an assessment on the person and find out that this person has lost capacity. A doctor examines them and verifies that. So now they're in the probate court and a conservator has to be appointed. So this person has a trust and all of their assets are in the trust. They have to be taken care of. There's a conservator of the person that steps in to make sure that they are taken care of. Also, a conservator of the estate, because if they're incapacitated, they can't handle their estate. That person steps in. Finds out that there is a trust document. There is a trustee, a person that is supposed to administer the trust in case of incapacity. That person cannot qualify for a bond. Once it's in the probate court, you have to have a bond. Your bond has to be able to cover all of the assets. So the person that's named as trustee does not qualify for the bond, so a professional conservator, professional fiduciary takes the position of trustee. So from that position, the probate courts now are not only in control of the person, the estate, they're also in control of the trust. Control meaning that all of the things that happens to that person has to be reported to the courts. So in order to take care of that person, you may have to sell off some assets that are in the trust. Before you do so, that has to be reported to the courts. But I want to stay focused on one of the ways that a trust can be probated. So again, if the person, the trustor who created the trust becomes incapacitated and is being neglected, ends up at the probate court, ends up being conserved, their assets are now under the probate court's jurisdiction. So that trust now is being controlled by the courts, meaning that any money that goes in or out, the courts want to know. You have to account for every dime. So if there's beneficiaries, yeah, they'll actually be able to get, if there's any money left after the trustor, the person who created the trust, is deceased. I hope you're following me, but the trustor becomes incapacitated for one reason or the next, is also being neglected, ends up in the probate court as a conservatee because they're conserved now. They have a trust. The trustee cannot actually have a bond. They can't qualify for the bond. They're unbondable. So a professional has to step in. A professional court-appointed trustee. I've been in that position before, so I know how that works. So listen, hopefully what I've explained to you about one of the ways that a trust can be probated because of incapacity, neglect, and they end up at the probate court, and the trustee cannot qualify for the bond that's required then a professional fiduciary would step in, and everything has to be reported to the court. There has to be an accounting, and so it becomes now a court jurisdictional proceeding. That's one of the ways that a trust can be probated. I hope you've learned something. If there's any questions, go ahead and ask them in the comment section, and I would be happy to answer any questions. And I am going to talk about how a will can stay out of probate. So that's another interesting catch to it, because we know wills in California have to be probated. But anyway, hopefully you got really good information. Let me know with a thumbs up, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care of your families, and I'll see you and talk with you soon. Bye-bye now.